in the aftermath, I don't know if you saw Dana White say, if this fight takes place in Las Vegas, it probably doesn't get stopped. He's got the reasons, he's got the excuses, he's got the ifs, buts and maybes, hasn't he? Is that the best scenario that could have happened to him?
It's McGregor-esque, isn't it?
Do you know something? There is a vibe about him.
Yeah.
There is that vibe about him. The fight, it is the fight. It's the fight for 2025. John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Welcome to Uncaged on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure to be with you. Pleasure to be with this man as well. Look at him, sunning himself, getting a little bit of vitamin D before the festivities all kick in. By the way, I did see your attempt at a Christmas tree this week, which we're going to get stuck into. The one and only Mr. Brendan Loughnane. How are you?
Listen, we don't all have wife and kids, Adam. Do you know what I mean? Like, some of us are running bachelor pads here, and they've got to try and throw it together.
Bro, listen, I remember when me and Mrs. C got together, right? I wasn't that guy that put Christmas trees up. So my flat,
there you go.
Had nothing in it at all, mate. She used to come round at the Christmas time, festive it all up and all that type of stuff, and give it that woman's touch. And obviously now it's like Santa's Grotto at Catterall Towers. So, listen, you've had a good go there, haven't you? You've had a good go. You've got your tree up there. Have you put it on a table? What have you done?
Right, here's what's happened, yeah. This is my first proper gaff, right? It's my first proper Christmas without my mum and all my family about. So I'm like, right, well, Brendan, you got to get yourself a little tree. So I thought, all right then. So this is my first attempt at my own Christmas tree. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to bang this up on the ground while I've had some stick, mate, let me tell you.
It's a good, mate, it's a proper bachelor pad.
Yeah, it's a start.
It couldn't be more Brendan Loughnane. Let's be dead straight.
There we go. I'll take that.
Keeping with you, mate. Beautiful stuff. Listen, lots to talk about. We're going to have a review of UFC Tampa at the weekend where Joaquin Buckley put manners on Colby Covington. I say put manners on him. I don't think he took them manners, according to his post-fight press conferences and what have you. But we'll get stuck into that. We're also going to talk a little bit about Jack Shore, a great from UK soil, deciding to call time at the age of 29. And we'll look ahead to a special show that we're going to be doing in the next week or so, where we are going to dish out some awards and make some big predictions for 2025. But we'll start in Tampa, mate. Joaquin Buckley getting the opportunity against Colby Covington. Doctor steps in, says, mate, you are sliced and diced. End of the fight. Here's a question for you, Brent, just on the finish, right? And the way the fight finishes. Is that the best possible scenario for Colby Covington? He doesn't get iced out. He's not a viral meme. He doesn't go the full distance where he gets 45'd. It gets stopped by the doctor because of a cut. And therefore, in the aftermath, I don't know if you saw Dana White say, if this fight takes place in Las Vegas, it probably doesn't get stopped. He's got the reasons, he's got the excuses, he's got the ifs, buts and maybes, hasn't he? Is that the best scenario that could have happened to him?
He just constantly finds the out, doesn't he? Like, I've never known anyone to find the out as well as Colby. Like, there's always an excuse in there. Like, I mean, he was doing the Trump campaign apparently, and he got off the couch in 2 weeks' notice. Like only he could come up with something so insane. You know what I mean? It's like, but the ideas, they're running out. People aren't believing it anymore, Adam. Like, we're at the end of this now. We're at the end of the Colby train. People don't take his words as serious as they used to. Because let's have it like when he fought Usman, and we had them great battles between them two. People believed what he said. Big time. People were bought into the Colby Covington hype train. After his recent performances, we all know that you're just talking air now. You're just talking air. No one's listening anymore. And I think this was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's becoming a tough sell. When you look at the resume and you've got one finish in 8 years, and then you look at the people that he's beaten in that 8-year period, they are all people coming to the end of their tenure, or guys that aren't necessarily 170s. Don't get me wrong, there's some names on there, but they were all coming to the end of their time. And then obviously, like you just said, he did have a fantastic first fight with Kamaru Usman. Second fight was entertaining, but I think he was more comprehensively beat the second time around. He didn't turn up for Leon Edwards, and at the weekend he was comprehensively just beaten by an up-and-coming contender. What do you do with him next? Where does Colby go?
He seems to think it was 1-1, Adam. he seems to be.
Mate, I've seen some bad judges in my time, my
Yeah.
friend, but I don't think anybody's giving that a 1-1.
He said it was 1-1. Joaquin was gassing out. He said, and he was yeah, mate. It's. Do you know what I think? I think, is this an act or are you that delusional? I don't know. It's quite hard to tell with him because he's really good at it. But when he said that, I was like, wow, really? Like, yeah. So I think we were just talking about it off air, like, off the camera. I mean, on camera, the guy's an absolute superstar. I love watching him. I'm bought into him. He's full WWE, the Hulk Hogan, the Chael Sonnen. I love it. It's entertainment. And like, if Ferguson can go as long as he did, why not keep Covington in there? But he has to start fighting the veterans now. Stop giving him title contenders because he's just not on that level. But he is great entertainment value, so let's use that and guide that in the right direction.
I think his time as a title contender is absolutely done. And you're right; it's probably going back to what he's done previously, fighting the guys that are at a stage of their career where maybe they've got 1 or 2 left. There's fun out there. There's absolutely fun out there for him. But for example, if you gave him Carlos Prates next, Carlos Prates would not mess about with him, and it would be a massacre. So therefore, I don't think there's anybody in that top 15. Could you put him in with Wonderboy, who is a top 15er?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great fight. How old's Wonderboy now, Adam? 42?
Yeah,
Like,
he's more Wonder Man than Wonder Boy. Let's
yeah,
just say that.
like they're the type of fights you want to be putting him in with now. I mean, he's already fought the Dos Anjoses and all that. Like, he's been down the veteran road himself. So
Yeah.
now we actually paint the full picture. It's a tough one with Colby because he's such great entertainment value, but his skill level's just not matching up to where his mouth is.
Yeah, fair. From a Joaquin Buckley point of view, great win. One to tick off. Great on the microphone as well.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm all in on the Kamaru Usman shout and chasing down Kamaru Usman and trying to get that particular fight. But here's a little bit of matchmaking for you. Off the back
Prates.
of my listen, Prates would be amazing. But
That's the fight.
Well, Prates is still, he's coming up. Buckley's
Yeah.
Buckley's looking that way, isn't he? He's looking up.
Yeah,
He's
true.
He's trying to get his hands on something. So if you look from a Buckley point of view, last week we were on this show and we said, listen, the fight to make is Leon Edwards against Ian Garry. Ian Garry, off the back of that, has said, listen, if I'm going to fight in Europe again, I'm fighting in Dublin. I'm not coming to London, or I'm fighting in America. So it looks highly likely that Leon Edwards is going to need a dance partner if he is to fight in London. I'm not against him fighting Joaquin Buckley. Why not?
No, I really like that fight. Like you said, Joaquin Buckley, from a Brendan Loughnane point of view, if I wanted to see him in the cage against anyone, forget rankings and weight divisions and all that. Let's just put him in with Carlos Prates because that is the fight. That is the fight. We're both fans of Prates, and his rise has been sensational. The way he's taking people out is incredible, and I just think, as a fan, forget everything else and all numbers next to your name. That's what I want to see. But if we're talking numbers next to your name, rises, Leon coming off the tough loss. Buckley on a great rise. And I really like him at 170. I think it was a great move for him. I really think that move has really suits him in this division because he's not even big for 170. What was he doing at 185, mate? It's insane. So yeah, this move's been great for him. He's must-see TV. He's great on the mic, and him and Leon in London. The press conference alone will be great. You can tell he's not shy, and I think that's the fight to make for London in terms of numbers next to your name and selling the fight.
Yeah. Now, we might be in different places with what I'm about to say, but I kind of like the idea of Cub Swanson retiring off what he did at the weekend. Now, hear me out, because I know that the adrenaline of knocking somebody out and going viral and doing all those types of things just gets the juices flowing and you want to go again. I just want to make a reference to boxing. Carl Froch, one of my favourites. Been in wars, got the T-shirt, been there, done it and got it, right? Fights George Groves in his rematch. He delivers a one-hitter quitter right across the whiskers, knocks him out in front of 80,000. Wembley goes wild. I am sure that Carl Froch wanted to fight again, but he thought to himself, you know something? It might never, ever get better than what I've just done. I have just ironed the dude out in a proper fight in front of all them people. I'm off into the sunset. I'm sure there's been lucrative offers. I'm sure the temptation of the fire that is burning inside him wants to make him do it again, but he chooses not to. And he's always got that. Do you remember the last time I thought, this is what I did? Bang. Look at that for an exit. Cub Swanson at the weekend delivered poetry. He's gone toe-to-toe with Billy Q. It's a great fight. We're all in. And then Cubby delivers the bomb. Irons him out, finishes it off. Cub, listen, you've already said that you are now starting to prefer coaching people than fighting yourself. And there might be ones that can tempt you to come and do it again. Don't, bro. You've got it. You've done it. You've caught the game. Unbelievable career. And you go out on a viral moment. What say you?
Why would you say we're on different pages with that? I absolutely 100% agree with you.
Oh, well, you're a fighter, aren't you? You're always wanting to have a scrap, pal. So.
No, not at 40 plus, mate. At 40 plus, again, you look at the old stats of the younger weight divisions, of the smaller weight divisions.
Yes, sir.
And he's already defied the odds massively of what he's just been able to do. But another point, Carl Froch is online begging for fights right now, Adam. So don't put that. He is. He's online.
He's having a wide. He's got the fishing rod out. He's got your old man.
He wants this, mate. He wants a payday, Adam. Let's have it right. Anyway, he's already defied the odds. He has Cub Swanson. He's beaten him over time. He's competed in the UFC for way longer than he expiry date should have with his style of fighting.
Yeah.
Stand and bang in the pocket. He's been like that since WEC. People don't even know what that is anymore. Surely he's got to be the only guy that's
still
from
going.
the WEC that's still winning fights. He's got to be, mate, because it was that long ago. There's a stat for you, Adam, that I've just pulled out of the bag. You know what I mean?
Still winning fights, all right. I like the way that you caveated it.
I'm going
to find one. I'm going to find one as well. Go, carry on. As you're going on now.
But yeah, no, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I was so happy for him. He had his wife in there, his kids, and he was really humble on the mic. And he's been a legend of the sport, great service to the sport, pioneer. And it would be great to see him go out on that moment. I think he was planning on retiring, but he got that buzz inside him when he got the knockout. And I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing it, but I can't really just put it over the line. And that's what it looked like to me.
I've got your fight. Are you ready? If he's going to do it again, you've just mentioned it. You put it in my head.
Jose Aldo.
You said WEC to me, mate, right? I know that Jose lost his last one because you said winning fights, right? So he lost his last one, but he did win the one before it. And I know that Jose might not necessarily be at Cub. Listen, we can make it happen, can't we? If we're going to do one more, Jose Aldo, Cub Swanson.
Why not? I'm all in for the veterans division. I love it. I think it's amazing. I'd definitely put them to him, but and even Dominic Cruz, you got Dominic Cruz knocking about.
He's still talking about fighting, isn't he? He's still.
That's what I'm saying. He looks like he's in heavy training camp at the minute himself. So there is a certain place in the sport for these type of guys. You know what I mean? And you've got to give Cub his dues. He's still taking on contenders. You know what I mean? He's still taking on really good guys. And
Billy Q's good, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Billy Q's thereabouts. Won a few, lost a few. Do you know what I mean? He's thereabouts. So get him in the Masters division.
The WEC Masters. That's what we need to do. Get them all in. If you qualify, if you had one fight in the WEC, in you go.
WEC. Like, listen to all the listeners out there. WEC. If you know what a WEC is, yeah, you're a real MMA fan. If you don't know what the WEC is, it was before the UFC. It was on Pride level. And if you don't know what Pride is, yeah, then you have to be a real veteran like me and Adam, right? So WEC was the origins of the sport. It went WEC, it went Pride, WEC, UFC, then PFL. That was kind of the order. It went on then Bellator, then PFL, sorry. So if you were competing during A Pride or B WEC and you're still winning fights, take the hat off to you because they're the origins.
That's it. For those that don't know, UFC bought two of them. Bought the UFC, inherited their champions, and then inherited divisions even, didn't they? When they brought in the UFC.
Yep.
Anyway, there you go. Cub Swanson still rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I'm still in the 90%, like, call it a day. But if they're going to do one, do it with Jose Aldo. That'd be fun. We've got a bit of a flyweight conversation to continue from last week because Pantoja, we're now looking for opponents. He's called out Demetrius Johnson. It's not going to happen. So we need a fighter to fight Alejandro Pantoja. We know who it is. Me and you know who it is, and we'll come to him in a minute. But at the weekend, Manel Kape was dancing, right? So out he goes. He delivers a viral moment. He knocks the fella out after being on the receiving end of maybe not the most attractive fight with our mate Mo Mokev, but he's come out of the weekend, he's put in a performance, he's delivered a sensational moment against a fighter that's on a really good turn, knocking people out himself. And then he gets on the microphone and said, listen, I want the title shot. Dana's shot that down. He said, nah, he hasn't done enough to win to get himself a title fight. Okay. I'm actually kind of slightly in an agreement with this because last week, if you remember, we brought up Kai Kara-France. And I said, Kai Kara-France hasn't done enough. He's 1-2 in his last 3. That's not enough to get a title shot with Pantoja. I don't care if he's the last man standing and it's by default. You've got to win more than that. So why don't we do Kai Kara-France and Manel Kape? Bring them together and just go on then. There's your eliminator. Winner of that will get themselves a title shot. In the interim, bring back the guy from Brave who got himself a submission victory on Friday night and let him fight Pantoja.
Well, here's what I think. I thought Manel Kape was incredible.
He was great.
I thought he was. That's how you put a statement out for a title shot, though. It is. Fair. I mean, you know, he the way he was showboating in between, and he just looked on. He just looked like on, and it really makes you think how well that win Mohamed Mokaev has now over him has matured, because it's like you beat that guy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then all the stuff that went around it, we all know about that. We won't go into that again. But that win now means so much more, beating Manel Kape. Yeah, it was close, Adam. We all know it was a close fight, back and forth. Didn't live up to expectations that we thought it was going to. But when you actually think about it now, if they do not re-sign Mo, which I don't know which way they're going to go, we really don't, you know, because Brendan Loughnane has been in this position himself. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes when the boss says it's an absolute no, it might be an absolute no. So if it is, you know, I'd say Manel Kape's the next. Obviously, has to be the next guy with a performance like that in my eyes, because he's gone out there. The division's a bit stale, and he's absolutely put a show on. He's put a show on. That he didn't just win; he won in fashion. He looked great doing it. And if you're not going to sign Mo, you have to put him in with Pantoja.
But like you've just said, Mo Mokev is a win over that guy that put that show on. He nullified the brilliance of Manel Kape, who was brilliant up to the point of fighting Mo, and he stopped that train.
Yeah.
For me, listen, money talks, and this is business at the end of it. You can't let personal opinion or personal emotion get involved with stuff. And I know it does. Because I'm speaking to you, mate, right? But Mohamed Mokev is undefeated. Undefeated in the UFC, undefeated in his career. He's done exactly what they asked him to do. Right, we're not re-signing you. Go away and go and get some wins somewhere else. Right, sound. He's gone and just submitted a guy in, 30 seconds? Just grabbed out of him, just grabbed his neck, strangled him, seeing a bit to that. He has to be in the UFC. He's proven that he's UFC level with the level of guys that he's beaten by his last win in the UFC being Manel Kape. Pantoja is desperate for something. He's desperate for a proper challenge. Yeah. It ain't going to be Demetrius Johnson. So bring back... The thing is, with this conversation, the UFC do still have the leverage in the conversation. Even though they need it, they still have the leverage. So they could go to Mo and say, listen, right, we weren't happy with you last time because of this, and this. That has to stop. And everything with this title shot is going to be against you. No, you're not getting it on home soil or anything like that. You're going to have to go to Brazil maybe to go and fight Pantoja in his own back garden and all that type of thing. They can do all that. Mo's not going to say no. He's going to say, yeah, he's 100% in. So I think making a Pantoja, Mohamed Mokev in Brazil, let that rock and roll. Kai Kara-France, Manel Kape, do them as a eliminator. And then you've got a contender for the winner, haven't you, to come all the way back.
No, I agree. I'm with you on it, but it doesn't always go that way, though, does it? No, as we know. And I mean, let's take another example. Mine's an example. You know, mine with the contender, and then everyone created a big thing about it, and then the more of a thing that's created about it, the more they're like, no, you aren't telling us what to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what's happened here with Mo. It's been made this gigantic thing now, and people are trying to say this is what you need to do. They might just make a stand of we're not doing it. And it can get like that at that level of business, as you know, as we've seen. Paul Daly's another example, absolutely running through everyone.
Yeah, but Paul Daly did chin someone after the bell, did he?
Yeah, he did. But
You know what I mean? He broke the bloody rules, mate, right? I love Paul to bits, but he did like...
no, listen. I'm just a Paul Daly fan, so I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? But
But he
it was
did chin somebody after the bell.
Yeah, it was naughty. Proper street
He
behaviour
went
from Paul
street.
Daly.
He went street
Yeah.
rules.
Wow. Wow. It was a naughty move. But what the point I'm trying to get at here now is he got told you'll never fight in here again,
And
and
that
he
happened.
never fought in there again. And he went round knocking everyone out, had epic
Yeah.
fights with Nick Diaz and everyone, and he never got back in.
Yeah.
I just hope that that's not the case here,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
I know how this can get. I've seen this scenario.
You've experienced it.
Yeah, exactly, Adam. And not many people have. So for me, I know this scenario more than most, and I just hope that this doesn't become a thing where the UFC are then like, nah, we said no, it's a no. I just hope that that's not the case, because this kid has done everything in his life. He's
And he's
done
good enough.
everything. Yeah, come on, man.
He's good enough to compete at
He's
that
the future star of the division. He's going to take that belt and reign with the belt for a long time. And it's like, are we going to stop this now because of some bit of immaturity? You know what I mean? He's still a young lad. So let's just hope that that's what it is. Let's hope this Pantoja fight happens. Yeah, put it in Brazil. Put the odds against him, and you'll still see him coming out with the belt anyway. So let's just hope that happens.
Good man. Just a couple more I want to highlight before we clear off from Tampa, and they're on the prelims, actually. Michael Johnson still doing it.
Oh.
Superb knockout, mate. Delivering it against Azatar. And just before him, Joel Alvarez. I'm a big fan of this kid from Spain.
Me too.
He is doing some bits, isn't he?
He's very underrated. Very underrated. But can I just say, like, after watching this, what a great card this was.
Yeah, really good.
Like, so many good finishes on it. Like, Michael Johnson, mate, he's that guy, yeah? Like, I remember even when he was fighting Khabib, lad, like, you can't give him half a second. Like, he can knock anyone out. He could knock a racehorse out. Like, he has got the right up from hell. He's got just rockets in his hands. I've seen the old videos of him sparring at Sanford and that. Like, he just has it with anyone. Yeah, you come up short a lot of the time, but sometimes you don't. And when he does produce, he's still producing these moments like the Cub Swansons that we've just been talking about, age-old warriors that are still in there. And what's the last thing to go, Adam?
The power.
It is, though, isn't it? And we've seen it this weekend.
I've got a fight for you, by the way, for him.
Gaethje?
Nope. He's done Gaethje. He's fought Gaethje, hasn't he? He was early on in Gaethje's thing. No, not Gaethje. I've got a fight for you, mate.
155. Veteran?
Yeah.
Go on. Poirier?
Bobby King Green.
I think I'd like Poirier more, you know.
Michael Johnson?
Yeah.
Do you not think Poirier's a little bit further up regarding the profile of fighting someone?
It's his last fight, though.
You just want to stand and bang water?
They're just going to swing. Are they not, though?
Yeah, they are. It'd be great.
They're just going to go like that. They're going to put the gum shield in, have a gentleman's agreement, and go,
right. Don't shoot. Let's
go, Michael, it's my last one, lad. It's one of them. And then, yeah. Yeah, but Bobby King Green, I'm in for that. I'm in for putting all them in one box and just let them have it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big time. Stick Gaethje in there with him as well.
Let's have a three-way. Go on, the lad.
Why not?
Joel Alvarez, mate, look really, really good.
Yeah.
And if they're going to do Spain next year, the UFC, obviously, he's got to be on the card. Not just the card, he's got to be on the main card. Maybe even co-main event against a decent top 15.
Yeah, I agree. Fantastic fighter. Been in the UFC a long time now as well, and just flew right under the radar. But he's been putting on great performances, and I'm a big fan of his.
The other bit of MMA from the weekend took place in Lyon, France. The ginger mullet did their business, mate. He is an absolute... He's must-watch TV. I put a tweet out saying, if your heart is not beating out your chest every time Lewis McGrillen steps through a cage door, you're doing it wrong, because the dude is just Right. As he says himself, let's get it cracking. Let's go, man. It's me and you.
He's,
Unbelievable.
I'm incredibly biased in this argument, right? But like from knowing him from his first day in the gym up until watching him on the big stage for the big dough, I was speaking to we was chatting to him on the show here, mate, and he was like, "Lad, thank God," because he ended up with it on short notice, didn't
Yeah.
he? And he was like, "Lad, thank God they offered me that fight, lad. I was skint." And it's just mad, yeah, how much your life can change in a few months. He had a stand-up war, like a knockdown dragon
Mate, it's a
fight of the
fight of the
year.
year contender.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fight of the year with a Scouser, another mate of mine, Dean, and like to go from that and then build on the momentum of that to another war, and then just to get 100 grand lumped in your bank from being skint 4 months ago. Like it just, what an incredible story, what an incredible kid, what an incredible style, and I'm just a massive fan. You've got to tune in and watch him. You have to.
For those that missed it, he's the European PFL champion, having been called in as a late replacement notice for the semi-final against Dean Garnett, delivered a fight of the year contender and stopped Dean Garnett, and then went into the final as a massive underdog and chinned the kid in the second round after completely out fighting him and outboxing him in the first, put on a bit of a clinic, really.
Yeah.
Then they all go toe to toe and he catches him. That left hand is just deadly, isn't it? When he lands it, you're going. Fair play.
It's McGregor-esque, isn't it?
Do you know something? There is a vibe about him.
Yeah.
There is that vibe about him.
There is.
And there's a real working class aura about Lewis McGrillen that I think is going to capture a lot of fight fans. You know what I mean? And this is where I've got a question now for you, mate. What do you do here? He's the European champion. He's just bagged 100K, right? That then automatically is going to put him in line to go into the world 135 as if he wants to do it that next year, which is for $1 million, right? What you've won in the 145 division. Or does he answer the phone call to the UFC for March?
You can't put me in this position, mate.
What does he do? What does
listen,
he do?
You know the answer, and I know the answer. We'll leave it there. But you know what, though? I'll make this easier. I'll make this a lot easier. PFL do not have a £135 division for the $1 million. So it's a very easy answer in it. There you go.
See you in March then. Let's get it cracking.
I mean, he's a superstar, Adam.
Mate,
is.
He'd sell half the O2 by himself.
Yeah, like he's a superstar, mate. Like Paddy Pimblett, like this is the new Paddy in my eyes. Like this is it's knockouts, it's Manchester, it's authentic, it's grassroots, it's stone roses,
it's off the street. It's off the street into the cage, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's incredible, mate, and it's great to see. And like PFL are in a real position now because they've got two world-class superstars up and coming from Manchester, sat there now. They've got a real situation on their hands of how to deal with these, because if they play the cards right with these two, they could catapult this promotion to a new stratosphere. But they need to play the cards right with these two talents.
Mate, what a dude.
Maybe a Manchester show. Do you know what I mean?
Bring them on, baby. Bring them on. You know where I'm at. Now,
yeah.
Speaking of Northwest talent, you will have seen at the weekend Dana White was answering questions off UFC Tampa. He was asked about Jones Aspinall. He said 100%. Now, obviously, there's never ever 100% in this game until it's signed, sealed, delivered, and maybe even the doors actually shut behind them before they get at it. But it's good to hear because we saw Tom Aspinall with Piers Morgan say, listen, I've had a conversation with Dana. They've promised it me. Dana's now come out public saying it's happening 100%. Jones is in a great position. I'm sure he's going to get weighed in financially. And as a fight, it is the fight. It's the fight for 2025, John Jones versus Tom Aspinall.
Well, let's hope it happens. Do you know what I mean? Because I know if I'm John Jones, I'm holding out, and he's probably played his cards right for the biggest amount of money, in which he deserves. But to say it's done is quite, because I know how negotiating goes.
Yeah.
Behind the closed doors, how it goes is I'm not doing it. Oh, there's a fat bag. I'm doing it. So for him to say it's done, he's put his cards out, Dana. There, I put my cards out, and they like to keep the cards close.
Yeah.
Which makes me think there's numbers involved. There's papers signed now, or close enough. In my eyes, that's what it looks like to me, anyway.
I'm at the big fella's gym on Thursday, so I'll ask him, mate. I'll see what the
You'll know. I'm surprised you don't already know.
I might do. I want to talk Jack Shaw, if I can, mate, because
please.
I've been a big fan of Jack's for a long period of time, and I know that when he jumped into the UFC, he came with the moniker of the Welsh GSP behind him, so there was big expectations. And only, less than 2 years ago, this man was undefeated in mixed martial arts, 16 fights undefeated, and then he had a little bit of a bump in the road. But in those bumps, it's not like I've watched him be completely outclassed in fights. I've watched him be in competitive fights that maybe, if he'd have zigged instead of zagged in that moment, it'd have gone his way. Or, we had that nasty shin cut, didn't we, where fight gets waved off because the doctor says that he shouldn't be continuing. It's a shame at 29 years of age, with so much talent and potential, that Jack has felt that the time is now to call time. Yeah,
it's difficult because it's like there's still so many years in Jack. I've always been a big fan of Jack, like yourself, especially from the IMAFs and, watching come through all that. And the Welsh GSP, you don't get their monikers easily. And it's like he always used to put it together really well. He was a great mixed martial artist, and sometimes you just got to take a real look in the mirror, and it looks like that's what he's done and gone, look, have I got the ability to be champion? Have I, got it in the tank to train 6-7 hours a day? Do I have the financial ability, my family, in order to, because it's a very selfish sport.
Yeah. And he's just become a dad as well, mate. He's just become a dad.
That's what I was just going to touch on. I mean, you see a lot of these guys, Nathaniel Wood as well. I see him posting his daughter a lot now, things like that. It becomes a time where it's like, right now, I haven't got any kids on him. I'm 6 years older than him, and I'm still competing. Do you know what I mean? It's 6 years is a long time in this sport. And he knows his body's still there. We've watched his competitive fights. He's not getting sparked 5-6 in a row where we're all having conversations with him. But it becomes a time in a man's life, I suppose, where you've got to look at yourself and go, I'm making X and X. Will that spread out through over the year? Because I might only have one fight a year. You have to start doing maths. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And, I'll always be a fan of him. Been a great servant to the sport, and best of luck to him in the future.
Well said, mate. Absolutely. And that concludes our show for today. We do have another little Brucey bonus for you between now and the new year, where we're going to look back at 2024 and make some mad predictions for 2025. That's right. So make sure you like and subscribe the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel, where you can catch Uncaged and many interviews with top stars from around the world as well. Thank you very much for getting involved with us this year. And in 2025, it's only going to get bigger and better. Who knows? Might have a Manchester show to celebrate. Eh? Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.